Noriena Hassan, mostly known as Norien. I'm the founder and also the coffee roaster at Cocoft in Berhad, and we are a little roastery situated in Sungai Buloh. Well, I jumped into the industry of coffee since 1998, and back then, 1998, my coffee knowledge is just the kopi O, the kopi kampong, the kopi campuran, until I joined San Francisco Coffee with the intention of actually learning how to open my own cafe. But because of the discovery and the exposure of coffee, I became passionate about coffee. And then it's a whole lot of discovery, you know different coffee, different method, different variety, and then that brings you to love coffee. The deeper you go, the more you discover and the more you like to share, because you find the goodness of coffee and the aroma, the taste is all different. So mainly is for sharing knowledge and also sharing the beautiful and the goodness of coffee. Cocoft, Cocoft. Often people say Cocoft. They really don't know how to pronounce it. Even I don't really know how to pronounce it, but it's Cocoft because it's actually CO. The first CO is for cocoa, and then COF is coffee, and the T is tea. So that's what we are moving direction, because these are the three main consumed beverages. This makes up, you have cocoa, you have Milo, you have, and then coffee, of course, and then you have tea. I recently also went to Indonesia to get some teas, trying to incorporate slowly, because I feel that, okay, my coffee is already okay, now it's time for me to search for something new. So that Cocoft. And then as for KOPI BAYAN NURI, I have been roasting for a very, very long time, and every time when we create blend, we tend to name our blends, and for the love of nature, so birds are close to nature, so I love birds. When I first wanted to put the name KOPI BAYAN NURI, I was thinking at first to put a Western name like Magpie, Robin Magpie or something, and then my husband was saying, hey, hello, you're Malaysian, put it something Melayu. Okay, then we come up with KOPI BAYAN NURI. When my husband was saying, why don't you get a bird that's closer to your name? So Nuri, so Nuri close to Norien. And then when I Google, it come out as Bayan Nuri. The first thing that come out Bayan Nuri is actually a picture of a stamp, Malaysian stamp, and that this burung Bayan Nuri, or long-tailed parakeet you call it, is featured on the stamp of Malaysia. So that it's indigenous to Malaysia. So that's a plus point. And then when I Google some more, Bayan Nuri has a meaning in Arabic. Bayan means enlighten, crystalline, like something that is not clear but you crystallize it. And then Nur is, of course, a lot of people know is cahaya, is light. So okay, it's a very good meaning. So we decided to have KOPI BAYAN NURI. And also because Bayan Nuri, the bird is indigenous to Malaysia, so that strengthens it. And then on our label, we decided to make it real Malaysian, so we incorporated some batik to show that this is product from Malaysia. Although the coffee may not be from Malaysia, but it's roasted in Malaysia. That's good enough because you get raw material. Malaysia is not generally a coffee producing country. We do produce, but for our own consumption. However, the coffee of Malaysia, which is of the Liberica variety, is recently of late sought after in the Western world, because people always say that coffee, there's Arabica, there's Robusta, there's Liberica. In the whole world, you can find Arabica, you can find Robusta. But what is Liberica? How is Liberica? Liberica is generally found in Asia, and especially in Malaysia. If you go to anywhere coffee producing country, they will say, that's Liberica from your country lah. So Liberica is known as Malaysian coffee. And in the olden days, when you drink the kopi kampung, they use Liberica, because your grandmother, your grandfather could just pluck it from behind their, and just dry it and just pound and roast it. But because of the demand of coffee these days, most of the kopi campuran where they mix are mainly robustas. Because Liberica, people in Malaysia especially don't want to plant Liberica or don't want to plant coffee because they feel that it's expensive. It is expensive. When the coffee, you have to pick, is hand pick. After hand picking, the process is just tremendous. It's tremendous. At the end of the day, you say, so tired. And then you say, how can I sell so cheap? It has to be very expensive. So mainly is that. But now, because of the growing or the evolving coffee culture, some of the states, pertanian, has been giving free seed to all the small farmers. Especially farmers who are planting coconut, bananas. So they give them free coffee seed to plant in between. And also because of the coffee seed, and there are a lot of people who farm beehive, they need the coffee because the coffee flower is very sweet. So normally this kopi, honey kelulut derived from coffee plantation is extremely sweet and different. You can taste it different. So now what we realize that government is realized coffee is important. So it's one of the commodity. Now they are encouraging all the farmers to plant more coffee. And people like us, we are trying to help as well. So we're going to have some exhibitions and some workshops where we'll be inviting some farmers to talk about the planting of coffee. And there's actually a lot of new youngsters who are looking for lands to plant Liberica, so to bring up. And believe it or not, Liberica actually not really won, I think one of the top 5 category in Switzerland, if I'm mistaken. They used Liberica from Malaysia, which was sent by a farmer in, I can't remember, Switzerland or Sweden. So that's upbringing. So hopefully now what I have is that Arabica blend, I have Robusta blend, and I have actually Liberica blend, but not much because it's very, very scarce. But this is the one that's without Kopi O, the real Kopi O. That's it. Yes, I would say it's niche. Niche because it's kopi uncang. Well, you may say that kopi uncang is not a niche because it's already in the market. It's happening with kopi campuran. The niche about my product is that the coffee is not kopi campuran. It's coffee roasted, purely 100% coffee, only back in the paper filter, just as uncang for everybody to try. Kopi campuran is usually mixed with sugar, mixed with, you end up with about maybe 20% of coffee, but this is 100% coffee. So you get the goodness, the whole nutrient, and the whole flavor of the real coffee. Different people has got different preference of coffee, definitely. And I find that the youngsters, they are in more coffee into the fruitiness, the more sourish, which we call acidity, whereas corporate has got this more bold and more deep coffee. So different coffee, when you roast differently, result in the taste different. So for example, I'm giving you an example. Assuming an office, a corporate office, they like it bold and dark. So I would give them something, a blend of probably Brazil with Guatemala and with Robusta, Indonesian Robusta, to give that dark, roasty, bold feeling. And then for perhaps if I do for hipsters, they might like something very fruity. Then we'll add some of the Ethiopian, which we roasted lightly, so that the fruitiness and the acidity comes out. Okay, Kopi Kampung drinking experience. How I discover. Well, Malaysian, they love the Kopi Kampung. However you say also, if you talk to the uncles, to the aunties, they always go for Kopi Kampung. Now, Kopi Kampung, as you know, is again, the Hainan roast is a mix of a lot of things. Sometimes you have 20% coffee, and then you have barley, and you have wheat, and you have corn. It's all according to the roaster. But I'm not putting aside that the coffee is not good. I mean, it's just have mixes. So what I want them to experience is 100% coffee. You have the true 100% natural and nutrient and the goodness of coffee, but the kampung style. So what I do is that getting some Robusta and roast it dark to replicate the kopi kampung, so that you feel more comfortable. The only thing different is that you cannot get the bitterness of the caramelized sugar which is added to the real kopi kampung. Professional Coffee Connoisseur is actually a division of Malaysian Food and Beverage Executive Association, which was established in 1998. The only thing is that Professional Coffee Connoisseur is only established in year 2020. It's because we realized that the growing culture of coffee, and then we who have been long in coffee industry and are dubbed as professional or expert of coffee, wish to educate more and then reaching out more, or kind of bridging. And coffee is huge. You have instant coffee is coffee. You have kopi Hainan style is coffee. You have coffee, the one that you drink in all those fancy cafe are coffee. And then you have coffee which is brewed differently are all coffees. So this is to make people realize and don't discriminate coffee for the love of coffee. Okay, when you judge for a competition, a lot of people think that, especially when you call it barista competition, people think that you are judging the taste of the coffee. Very often this contestant will bring you the best coffee in the world trying to display it. But actually when you judge barista competition, you judge the whole barista. And I was really touched with one, not to say touched with one girl, it's just that we had this competition called Signature Coffee Drink. Only thing is that you don't use espresso machine. So when you don't use your espresso machine, your extraction, when you use the normal hand filter, extraction is very light. And we have lecturers competing, we have people from the industry competing, and yet people are determined about getting the matcha must come out, the coconut must come out. But this girl, I'm just impressed, and to me it's like, how she value coffee. She just know to pick coffee and to do the amount of coffee so that the coffee complements with lychee taste, and it's as though the coffee is already with a lychee taste. That means you don't add anything, So that's probably it. I wouldn't say, to me it's not strange, because it may be strange to other people, but it may not be strange to me, or else I wouldn't buy it online. Maybe some small little coffee equipment that people couldn't understand why I buy it. I always regret when people, how people's action towards me, like if they are touched by whatever I do, or they are obliged. So those are the compliments. So I wouldn't say that something that I get it outright. Oh, you're a good coffee roaster. I wouldn't say that's more of compliment, because I always, whenever they say, oh, you're a good coffee roaster, or you're the roast master, I will always say that I have a long way to learn. There's a lot more to learn. But the gesture always touches me, and I know that's always the best compliment. So it's very hard to really say it out. Okay, favorite. If I go, and I do still sometimes order, bro, kopi o satu? There's a lot of different opinion, but what I would safely say is that don't go more than four cups. Some people may say to the extent of 5, maybe to their benefit, but I say don't go more than 4, because it depends though. Some people, they say, oh, don't go more than 4, but they have double shot of espresso all the way. So maybe just 1 shot of espresso, because it's really concentrate. So maybe 4 shots of espresso a day. That would be very good. Malaysian coffee culture. What I personally feel is that Malaysia we have always been a coffee drinking nation. The only thing is that because of how we drink, the kopitiam style, people don't realize it. So we think that we are old. However, the coffee culture is expanding and evolving. Not that is really growing, from 1% to 10%. It's always been there, but it's evolving. That 10% evolve the style of drinking coffee. Okay, this is what I find with young baristas or mainly youngsters. They have to be very open. They have to be open to receive comment, to receive to value whatever, you know. Just because you know how to pull or you know how to make a great latte art doesn't mean that you are already a superstar barista. You know, there's a lot more. A lot more. I've been in the industry since 1998. That's 20 over years, and to me, I'm still learning a lot of things. And to tell you the truth, I can't really pull a good latte art, but my other parts of coffee, I'm proud of my other knowledge of coffee. So just be open, and you know, just be open to comments, and always open up to receive new knowledge.